Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to the Correct Views. Samurai B. the Gangi during political commentary for the Media Speaks. You might have read my work at the Conservative Daily Post and Blasting News and Teddy Stick. That's particularly important today in light of some of the news I have as people trickle in. If you hear somebody talking in the background, that will be the booking agent, John Calhoun. We are currently in Ann Arbor, Michigan, trying to book a tour. Shout out to Lark Records as we all work on it here. So if there's somebody talking in the background, that is why. Otherwise, friends, I want to get to this. We have people asking me about Flynn. Michael Flynn, of course. And I encourage all of you to if you follow the show at all, to make sure you look at my work on the Conservative Daily Post. Not because I'm necessarily trying to get more people to click on it, but there are often times that I will cover something at Conservative Daily Post and then not readdress it here at the Correct Views. And I will sometimes get people that will ask my opinion on something or think that I had missed something when I may have already written it. But I'm going to go ahead and address one of them. And this is an article I wrote. It was for the Conservative Daily Post, of course. And I want to get into exactly what it is I feel about Flynn, some funky Flynn facts, if you will, and I'll give you my commentary on it as I go. I wrote, the hint of betrayal is in the air with a touch of self-preservation added for good measure. In light of the facts, as spoken of yesterday, showing that former National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn was likely conniving with the Russians in order to secure a nuclear power plant deal and pat his own pocket behind Trump's back, that is the only way to process what is in the air today. We know that Flynn was fired for his sneaky deeds, and now, in order to avoid prison for both himself and his son, he is ready, I wrote, to claim that the White House knew about the deal when Trump said that he did not. Now, for those of you that don't know, let me give you a real quick background synopsis on what's happening here. Flynn was working with nations to the United States would be the ones building the nuclear power plants at the places, particularly they did not want India or China or anybody else leading the world in that direction. Now, you guys already know that's one of the ways that I don't agree with Trump. I'm basically anti-nuke. I do not in that. We just don't agree. However, Flynn was working on trying to get this deal through that Trump supported the nuclear industry by moving in a direction that his pockets, Flynn, personally, there's no indication that Trump knew anything about it. As a matter of fact, what we have is the moment Trump heard that something was wrong, fired Flynn. Okay? What more do you want him to do? What, have him shot? The fact that Flynn was trying to push through a nuclear deal to pad his own pockets does not imply that Trump at any point did anything wrong. Flynn may not have character, but I mean, he was fired almost as soon as he was hired. Reports, and there's a link there, that after cutting off communication regarding the legal defense of Donald Trump's team of lawyers with members of the special counsel Robert Mueller's team, terms that this is a sign that Flynn is planning a plea deal that would make him a federal witness against the commander-in-chief. Isn't it quite convenient that he produced lie, run, and the world finds out that the whole Russian case against Trump was written by a guy named Christopher Steele, happens to be one with anything to do with staying out of prison and really nothing to do with Trump knowing of his deeds? General's lawyer said General Flynn certainly has a story to tell. Admit he would like to tell it. It most clearly is a story, I pointed out, a fate of which even the grim were conceived of. Flynn is willing to say virtually anything to keep keep himself out of the Gray Bar Motel and his son out of an orange jumpsuit. The general will be asked off the record questions for a proffer, which of course is an offer detailing what to protect the wrongdoing. So, to put this into layman's terms here, is in order to save himself, your allegation is saying, we need you to say that Trump, and even though there's no proof of it, we need you to say he did. Or if you don't, then we're going to send you to prison. Trump knew. Somehow believe that that is anything at all strong arming Flynn to imply that he did. About it, Flynn seems to have hidden a lot of details. He may even have bartered a man's freedom in Turkey in order to profit himself, records show. This is anything that Trump did, nor had did, for that is why he was fired. Yep, fired. Unfortunately, these truths seem lost on D.C. as they look more and more like Salem, Massachusetts every day. Democrats will be rushing around Donald Trump to see if he floats as the witch hunt goes onward. That's as clear as I can put it. We don't have any facts here at all, ever, towards Trump. As a matter of fact, what we do have is the fact that Trump fired the general as soon as he heard anything nefarious about him at all. That's all. That's my Flynn facts. Again, conservative Daily's post to stay up on those. There's one more I wrote that I'm getting to. I like to cover my own stories. That way, I think it's easier when I go to talk about them than trying to paraphrase what somebody else said. This is a wasteland. North Korean defectors reveal gruesome news. Babies and are affected by tests. Now, the reason this is alarming, and it ties into a lot of my Fukushima news, is the fact that you don't normally see birth defects and MRDD and some of the drastic things that we are seeing as we have been seeing them from North Korea. I mentioned in the article there's a couple of reasons that could be. Some of that could be that they were testing a lot longer than we thought they were. But we do know that they destabilized the entire mountain and buried 200 people of their own 200 of their own people alive at the bomb site by not securing it properly and by over-testing. They literally collapsed the entire mountain down. And if it was to have blown upward instead of inward, China right now could be dealing with a nuclear catastrophe, the likes of which they've never seen. So there's no other way to put this. The news today I wrote out of North Korea is horrifying, beyond the scope of mere words. It almost cannot be conveyed. The hateful kingdom's nuclear testing site, the one that they are foolishly toppling a mountain on, along with the surrounding area, has been transformed into a wasteland and has caused birth defects among newborn babies. The source for this is the London Telegraph. The confirmation is from defectors who would certainly know. To leave North Korea, you can be killed for it, and so can your whole family. They can be locked up for 3 generations. Their stories all match, which is a sure sign of truth. This is nothing short of a travesty. There are only 3 ways that this can be. Now, friends, pay attention. How can these numbers be so high? It can happen from the past test leaks during development. It could happen from a similar reactor over time. Massive release recently. Perhaps a 4th option is that it was caused by all 3, which does not make the story any less bleak. The damage from radiation, I remind everyone, is cumulative. It can never be undone. It will affect every raindrop, leaf, and piece of food grown for all of eternity, often with a half-life of billions of years. 21 defectors from Kinju County in the DPRK have found that 80% of the trees that were planted Gangi and underground wells are dry and dying. These are areas in North Korea. Poorly. This is a sign of other wastelands, but not quite at the speed that we're seeing in North Korea. I heard from a relative in Jude that deformed babies were born in hospitals there, said one of the North Koreans who fled the hellish regime. He said also that locals were worried about the radiation. For deformities to show up on the scene so rapidly in numbers this high is a sign that this poison over the peninsula is certainly as bad as Fukushima, which Japan distilled down to downplay, and Chernobyl. Argue that even those disasters were not showing their wake as quickly as this, though Fukushima is still ongoing, a mere series of detonations. I spoke on the phone with family members I left behind there, and they told me that all of the underground wells dried up after the 6th nuclear test. In other words, they have literally vaporized the groundwater. When new groundwater fills it, it will cling to the radiation that is in the now dry wells, and then it will be used as an uptake into the human body. Is exactly what that means. It shows that we cannot really trust the United Nations to tell us what they know. It stands to reason that if the rad count is this high, someone there knew. For the good of the bottom line, since people are rightly afraid to buy from these wastelands, this was hidden once again from us. In other words, don't worry, people, just keep buying and eating Japanese food and eating mushrooms that soak up radioactivity, and do as much as you can, because you won't know that it's too late until you have a cancer, and then it'll be too late for you to do anything about it. Those who are lucky enough to live through this, the testings of 06 and 09 in North Korea, the most likely causes of the most recent rush of defects, said that locals were not even told about the tests nor the risks. They were not even told they even hide. Only family members of soldiers were evacuated to underground shafts. Ordinary people were completely unaware of the tests. In other words, they sent the people out into the area where the testing was happening and did absolutely nothing to warn nor shield them, did not even give them potassium iodide to protect their plans, which is damn near free. Since the 6th test from the sadistic Kim Jong-un, residents have been banned from making hospital appointments in the capital, Pyongyang. This could mean that the system is overwhelmed with illness, or that the prized city of North Korea does not want the truth known, seen, and photographed. And there we have some of the birth defects pictured that came up from it. This theory is even more than conjecture, since it's reported that anyone caught boarding trains with samples of the soil, which would prove how bad the area is, have been threatened with arrest because they just do not want the truth out, and they're being that dogmatic about it. Friends, I have 3 more to get to ever so quickly. This is from WND. Pat Buchanan, how many of you are like I am? The Evergrades, maybe, figuratively. He does have something good here, and I want to touch on it real quick. And he mentions Thanksgiving, but it's just as appropriate for Christmas. How stands John Winthrop's city on the hill? How stands the country that is to be the light of the nations? That would be us. To those who look to cable TV for news, the answer must be at least be ambiguous. Consider the issues that have completely convulsed the public discourse in the American Republic. Today's general question seems to be whether the 45th president is as serious a sexual predator as the 42nd was proven to be. On both questions, the divide, as ever, happens along partisan lines. And every day for weeks, beginning from Hollywood King to Harvey Weinstein, whose accusers nearly number in 3 digits, actors, media personalities, and politicians have all been falling like 9 pins over allegations and admissions of sexual predation. What is our civil rights issue, he asks, and why are today's successors to the freedom riders of the 60s? Millionaire NFL players taking a knee during the national anthem to dishonor the flag of the country to protest racist cops. And what was the great culture issue of the summer and fall? More division, he writes. The ideological clamor to tear down monuments and memorials. I'm not going to read the whole thing, friends, but you do get the point here. You get what he's saying, that they're literally ripping the culture away from us by getting us to fight back and forth. He said President Trump ran on the pledge to make America great again, implying that while the America he grew up in was great, in the time of Barack Obama, it no longer was, and he won. And the fact that people have seen that is something that people are using for a divide. But you've got to remember that this is not something that Trump created. Rather, it's the fact that Obama was the one who was pushing for us to have all these divisions among each other based on how much pigment is in our skin. And the reason they're doing that is if they can get us to fight about race, then we're not going to band together and realize that the government is hosing all of us equally. There is no white privilege. There is government privilege, and that is when they have the boot out our neck. That's what that is. Friends, 2 to go. Listen to this. This is particularly grim news, but it's good to get the warning out. I meant to do it last time, and I ended up closing the tab down, and it was pointed out to me by listeners, so I'm doing it now. Better late than never. Nearly half of all U.S. cancer deaths are blamed on unhealthy behavior. I'm going to cut through it quickly because there's some commentary that they don't get to here that they should have. A new look at cancer in the U.S. Reminds us nearly half of cancer deaths are caused by smoking, poor diet, and other unhealthy behaviors, according to WHIO TV7. Less than the commonly cited estimates from more than 35 years ago, a result of new research methods and changes in American society. Smoking rates have plummeted, for example, while obesity rates have risen. The study found that 45% of cancer deaths and 42% of those diagnosed with cancer could be attributed to the authors call the modifiable risk factors. These include too much exposure to the sun, not eating enough fruits and vegetables, drinking alcohol, and most importantly, smoking. Now, I'm not going to go into all the stats on how they break down. You can find it on the site that I gave you. I'm scanning through it and you can see it. Smoking was the leading risk factor by far, accounting for 29% of death. Excess body weight is 6.5% of all cancers, and alcohol consumption was third at only 4%. A lot of that you can negate by coffeeing and keeping your kidneys flushed out in your liver so that the alcohol doesn't stay in your system. Smoking accounted for 82% of lung cancers. Excess body weight, 60% of uterine cancers and liver cancers. Alcohol intake, of course, liver cancers, 12% in men, 25% in men, 12 in women. 17% of all colorectal cancers in men, 8% in women, 16% in women. No surprise there. Here's what they don't mention, and this is what I found to be rather alarming, and that is that they put so many toxins into our food. Things, look up Monsanto. If you don't know anything about GMOs, type in Monsanto rats France. I dare you. I dare you to do that once. What they're putting into our food has the pesticide that is in Roundup put into the genetically modified food. And if you're not eating organic, then you're probably eating it. Who is here with me? A place called George's once a week because they actually have organic food. The rest of the week, I don't know about him, but I'm eating like death. It's terrible. And it's because they put these things into our food. That's why a Coke is 99 cents. And an orange juice is like $4. Organic food is deliberately overpriced. Terribly overpriced. They don't use as many chemicals, and yet they charge more money. And these are the things that keep us sick, the things that give us cancer, etc., etc. Guys, I've been going on here about 18 minutes. I got one left for you, and of course, you know what it is. The dumbdee of the day. This is the You Are an Idiot music playing beautifully for us. Isn't it beautiful? The dumbdee of the day. I do want to say real quick, I do the dunce cap of the month. Every month. I didn't get to it last month. I am having the dunce caps made, and I will be doing a double dunce cap show that will go ahead here. That'll be in the next couple weeks. My next show will probably be the massive Fukushima update. And before I get to the dumbdee of the day, I want to remind you that this is listener supported. So you, and she's hot, so her twice, can donate at thecorrectviews@hotmail.com. Do it through PayPal. And all the money I get goes towards a better show. So if you notice my camera sucks, it does, and only you can fix it. Listen to that. I wasn't as hard on this girl as some people were. I wrote this when I heard about it. Social media brings negative consequences, and a student admits a $200,000 viral mistake. In a nutshell here, this girl had a friend of hers that was in the hospital over Thanksgiving. And it made her think about all the children that were unlucky enough to be in the same predicament. That she was going to give a certain amount of money, change really, to every like and retweet that she got. And then it's happened to you that you thought would get thousands of hits and it gets like 300. Happens to me. Eating her Thanksgiving dinner with retweeted her. It wasn't just she owed $200,000 and the money. Now she wasn't lying. She wasn't lying at all. Fox site that I'm giving. She was torn apart. You lie. She didn't lie. She was planning on giving $1,000 of her money. Fortune when you're a college student. She's 19 years old. Well, she was shocked on the media. I thought it was a dumb thing to do. She didn't cap the donation amount. But if we're too hard on people that try to do something nice, I mean, she's trying to raise money here for sick children and kind of blew up in her face. But if we are too mean to people that do things like that when they make a mistake, then there's going to be a lot less people that even bother to try. They're just going to say, screw it. I don't feel like dealing with it. I'm not even going to try. So we can't be that hard on her, but she does win the dumbdee of the day. I would be remiss, even though I go out to her, my heart goes out to her, I would be remiss if I did not give her the dumbdee of the day, which I'm doing now. It says, sometimes I wrote, an idea looks good on paper, but it really does not translate very well into the real world. For that matter, many times a well-meaning person has their heart in the right place, but their head is lacking a few fundamental understandings that get in the way of their otherwise kind nature. This is certainly the case with 19-year-old Danny Messina, as Fox News reports. The that's not a cheap school either. The Washington State University student wanted to help St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, one of the most deservedly loved institutions in the U.S. She told those who followed her online that she would donate 25 cents, quote, for everyone who favorited her tweet and 50 cents for every retweet. Due to the nature of the internet and viral postings, that proved to be a massive mistake, and she now owes a stunning $200,000. Bulldog, can you pay it for her?
No.
No, he's a little short. He's only about $200, so he's close. Me too. The hospital that treats sick kids for free is so beloved that nearly 200,000 retweets became reality and 450 favorites. To me, my little cousin is currently battling leukemia at St. Jude's, wrote someone. Messina said to the Huffington Post that she had a friend who was, again, spending Thanksgiving in the hospital, and she wanted to help out in some way. She did not enter into this expecting to get away with only pocket change. I was planning on donating $1,000, she said. But the retweets happened so rapidly that she had no time to halt the idea. She wasn't just seeking attention, and she tells CBS News, quote, I tweeted because I had absolutely no idea there would be that much support for this. Well, yeah, I don't have the funds to support this, but here is a link to donate to one of the best hospitals that there is. She confessed to her error and has since since it was only an error, there is no reason to condemn the young and hopeful tweeter. Fewer people were helped than they do now. The college student is trying hard to keep her promise regarding the pledge. She has started a GoFundMe page, and there's a link right there as you see me highlighting it where you can help her. She is currently asking for just 50 grand. She said, it's a community effort now, I think. She's laughing at herself. She made a mistake, friends. I wrote some Twitter users called out Messina for not capping the amount that she would donate. But then again, how many of us have posted something online begging for it to go viral as it sits with 20 views? She likely had no idea that she was about to be that one fluke. Ugh. We are from an older generation. We have a saying, somebody tweeted to her. That you can't cash, did you? It's a shame. St. Jude is a great cause. Too bad you decided to make a commitment and you can't honor it. Yeah. Harsh. For starters, she didn't decide not to pay it. Planning to spend a grand, she not renege on her word. She didn't lie. To treat those with a real desire to help make an honest mistake. And those who feel prone to making errors, which all novices do, even in a charity, will not even try. In this case, that getting $1,000, if that happens and that's your common sense for the day, friends. Thank you for listening to the Correct Views. Hello, I got viewers down there. Please donate at thecorrectviews@hotmail.com through PayPal, because if you don't, I can't get better gear and I can't bring you a better show. Good night, friends. I do hope you're hitting share. I don't care how broke you are. There's no reason not to hit share. Thank you, friends.